Hi, my name is Matt Lewis, and I want to welcome you to Math 141. This video and then one that follows it are meant to give you the information that you need to get started in this class. But before I get into any of those nuts and bolts type things, I guess the big message I want you to get from these videos as we start the quarter is that I'm really all about your success. I've been teaching here at YVC since 2010. I have a wonderful job. I'm very lucky to have it, and, and I'm really passionate about what I do. And so, as you go through this quarter, just know that I'm your advocate here. I want you to be really successful, and I hope that that comes across in the class policies that I articulate in this video and in the next one. So in this first video, I'm just going to try to take you through the nuts and bolts of the class so that when this one's finished, you know how to get started, you know how to access your lessons, your assignments, other resources that are available to you. And in the second video, we'll talk about taking assessments and how grading works in the class. And grading is probably going to be quite different than what you've experienced in other math classes in all likelihood. That video will be really important to help you understand how it is that I'm going to be grading. Just to give you a quick preview of kind of what you're going to hear in that video is one thing I believe is that if you take some sort of assessment, some sort of test, and you don't achieve exactly what you want, that shouldn't be your last opportunity to show that you've learned the material. And so throughout this class, there will be more than one chance for you to show that you've learned particular topics because sometimes taking an assessment and not scoring quite as well as you'd like to is a part of the learning process too. And so I'll go over that in detail in the second video, but I just want to kind of preview that now so you understand where I'm coming from, really wanting all my students to be successful. So as you run into adversity throughout the quarter, which can definitely happen, just know I'm here. I'm your advocate. I'm someone who is really invested in your success. All right, so let's start though with some of the basic nuts and bolts of how do you get around the class website. Let's go ahead and hit the Start Here module up at the top. There's a little welcome message from me, and the one thing I just want to point out here is that down here regarding Canvas names and regarding Canvas pronouns, you have the ability to determine what name and then what pronouns appear on Canvas. And so if there's a particular way that you would like to be addressed that may be different than what was on the original official class roster, then you have the ability to go in and change that. And so just click on these little links here and that'll give you instructions for how to do that. All right, there's a little about your instructor message, tells you a little bit about me. I encourage you to read through that. Here's the orientation videos you're watching right now. And then the first thing I want you to do is to go into this discussion forum and introduce yourself. So there's just a series of questions so that I can kind of get to know you and you can get to know some of your fellow students. And so if you could just respond to these, and you can see I've already put some of my own responses here. And this is, even though this is an online environment, we don't want to conduct this class in a way that we're totally just isolated and are just named on a computer screen. So let's kind of start to get to know each other a little bit here. All right. So after the Start Here module, I want to show you right here, we have some important links. So one thing that I'm really dedicated to is making sure that I am available to you, right? So that I'm not just some name on your class schedule, right? But I'm accessible whenever you need assistance. And so there are 3 hours a day that I'll have what I call student hours. Okay. And probably a lot of you have heard the term office hours that instructors have, and that's the same thing as what I'm having here, but I call them student hours because I really want to drive home the point that these hours are for students. And so the way it'll work is I'm in my office, and I do teach face-to-face classes. So I'll be in my office with my door open, where my face-to-face students can come and drop in. But at the same time, I'll also have my computer open with a Zoom meeting running. And if you click on this, then it will take you to my Zoom meeting. Now, what's going to happen is it's going to put you into a waiting room, and then I'll let you in. And usually I'll probably be able to let you in right away. But if I don't let you in from the waiting room right away, it's not because I don't know you're there. It just might be that I'm in the middle of helping another student with something. And so I just need to get to a good stopping point before I can let you in. So, um, so getting a hold of me is as easy as just clicking on this Zoom link during these times. For the 9:30 and 1 o'clock hours, the 9:30, 11:30, and 1 o'clock hours, I'm otherwise engaged on YVC's campus, so I would not be available then. But after 3 p.m., between 3 and 5, I'm often available. So if, let's say, you get off work at 4, and could meet at 4:15, well, there's going to be a day during the week where we could schedule something for us to be able to meet. So just communicate with me through the Canvas messaging system, which is just over here. Just send me a message saying, hey, I can't meet with you during student hours this week, but I'd like to schedule another time. I'd be happy to do that. Another resource for you anytime you need assistance is this one called the Math Care for All Zoom link. And it's similar to the student hours in that you just have to click on this and it'll take you right to a Zoom meeting. Now, the Math Care for All is just the online version of our Math Center. And there are folks on duty who are ready to help you with your homework and studying and things like that. So it's kind of on a drop-in basis. So you just simply have to click on this, and you can see that this is available 9:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Friday, and then in the evening 6 to 9 p.m. I tend not to be available in the evenings most of the time. So if you need some assistance in the evenings, then this is really a good opportunity to get help on homework and things like that. So you just click on this, someone will greet you. Again, sometimes if there's multiple people in there, if someone doesn't let you in right away, don't give up on it. Just hang out, and they'll let you in as soon as they can. Here's just the Math Center website that also has information about when the face-to-face Math Center is available. So you might be someone who's maybe taking some face-to-face classes in other areas. And so if you're on campus, then you can also get assistance from there. The textbook for the course is completely free as long as you're happy to have just an electronic copy. So if you click here, this link will just take you right to the textbook for the class. And as you'll see throughout the modules in the course, I link to specific textbook sections. So the only reason you need to pay for a textbook is if you wanted a hard copy, which you can get from the bookstore. Now, if you need to check out any technology, like maybe like a hotspot or a laptop or something, just click on this link and you'll get information about how to get that. And then finally, you should know that you have a number of free pages that you can print out. And in this class, there are a number of notes that I strongly encourage you to print out for yourself. And so you don't necessarily have to go and do that on your dime. You can do that through YVC. So just clicking on this link here will take you to that information page and how you can go about getting things printed out. All right. Now let's go to important documents. All right, so of course the syllabus is right here. The rubrics, I'm going to talk about that in the second video. Calculator. So you do need a what's called a graphing calculator, and my suggestion is to use a TI-84 graphing calculator. If you have a different brand, like a Casio graphing calculator, that's okay. Just know that in the video lessons, the demonstrations are done with the TI-84. So you might find that a little easier. If you don't have one of those, you don't necessarily need to go out and buy one. You can just click on this calculator agreement form and take it to the YVC library. And you can also go to Grandview and get a calculator from them as well, just by filling out that form. So, if you're someone who, say, is an engineering major and you're going to need one for class after class, then yeah, maybe go ahead and purchase one. But you're perfectly free to borrow them. I will say that they can run out though. So my suggestion would be try to get there in the first, day or two of the quarter to borrow one. And I was just mentioning printing. So here are the notes for the class. There's broken up in these 5 different documents. And these notes go right along with the video lessons that I've created. So my strong suggestion is that you print these out. Again, you can use YVC to do that for free, but print these out. And then as you watch the video lessons, you're going to take notes right along with the video lesson. So just like if you were in class and you're getting the lesson in class and you're taking notes, these notes have the examples there and definitions and things like that, and then space for you to write underneath of them. All right. Of course, if you have like some sort of a way on your computer to take notes straight onto a PDF, then there's no reason that you have to print it out. But in some way or in some form or fashion, you're going to want to take notes on these documents for the lessons that you have. Okay. So what I'm going to now do is just kind of take you through a sample module so you know what the modules look like. I'm going to start down here at this module that's called Standard 3. When you see the word standard, just think that means as a topic, right? So standard just means topic. So I break the class into different topics. And so you could say topic number 3, this module. Let's open that up. And so you'll see some different things here. The first thing is a rubric, Standard 3 rubric. Again, I'm going to get into this in detail in the second video, but basically I use a rubric to decide how much you've mastered a particular topic. Okay, so that's always the first thing you'll see in one of these modules. All right, after the rubric, the next thing is a link to the specific section of the textbook that contains that material. So I click there, takes me right to the textbook. And if you want to view it in not this little tiny window, just click here and it'll open it up in a new tab. After the link to the textbook, then we get to the video notes. Okay, so now let's do a little comparison here. It says video notes, absolute value inequalities, standards 1 through 5 notes, pages 25 through 27. So what that means is if I go back up to these documents that I was showing you, and I click on standards 1 through 5 notes, then if I scroll through here to pages 25 through 27, almost there. Okay, so starting here, here's page 25, 26, 27, that those 3 pages are what are going to appear in that particular video lesson. And just to give you an idea of what that looks like, click on here. And I just press this. I'm going to keep the sound off. But of course, you'll be able to hear me talking and you'll see writing appearing. So probably a lot of you have used Khan Academy and things like that. So it's kind of a video created by me in kind of the style of Khan Academy. So after the video lesson, the next thing you'll see is supplemental videos. Now notice it says optional here. So I provide these supplemental videos as just additional videos that aren't made by me, they're made by others that, maybe there's a way that I'm covering that particular topic that didn't make sense to you. Then you could click on these supplemental videos and they're just extras. So if you don't watch these, it's not like you're missing anything important necessarily, but these are just extra resources for you if you choose to use them. But they're labeled optional so that you know it's not a must. All right. Now we get to this thing called a Newton assignment. And so Newton Alta is the homework system that we are going to use. And I'm going to go ahead and click on this and kind of take you through what it looks like to use this homework system. So all you have to do to get signed up for Newton Alta is just to click on it within Canvas. Okay, so you don't have to go to any kind of external website or anything like that. You just click on it, and there we go. It's taking a little while. All right, and so the first message you'll get here is, hey, welcome. Please complete a purchase or enter an access code. And so you're going to go ahead and click purchase. So this is going to be the one thing in the class that does cost money. So you're going to want to buy the single term access for $45. Now, what you can do though is, you can get courtesy access for 14 days. So let's say, for example, you need to take Math 141, but you're kind of on the fence about, do I really want to do this online? I'm still thinking of maybe taking an in-person class. Not every instructor who teaches Math 141 uses Newton Alta. So if there was any doubt in your mind about whether this is ultimately the class you're going to want to take, then instead of paying for it right now, click Get Courtesy Access. And like it says, it'll give you just 14 days. After 14 days, you'll have to pay, but by that time, you'll know for sure whether you're going to be in this class or not. I'm going to hit Start now. And then you can go ahead and hit Start and begin the assignment. Now, the thing you need to understand here is it's a little bit different than some homework systems in that instead of having a set number of problems that you have to do, you do problems until you've demonstrated mastery of the material. And so there are multiple objectives that you're being assessed on. And if you demonstrate that you already understand the material pretty fully, then you only have to do a few problems. If you are struggling with it, then you have to do more problems. So just to kind of give you an idea here, let's see, they've given us this. Let me maybe try to do this one in my head pretty quick here. I believe, all right, I believe I just did it right. We'll see. I'm going to drag this over here. And this is, okay. See if I did that in my head correctly. Yes, okay, so I got it. Now what happened is, see that little circle? That started to fill in. So this objective of solve simple inequalities in one variable algebraically, I've made progress. And so all I have to do is finish that circle and I'll be done with that objective. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. Notice it shows some detailed work. So every problem will always show you a detailed solution after you've attempted it. It'll show you in detail how it's done. All right, so it's giving me another one now. And let's see, I'll do this one in my head as well. Okay, so I think I've got it here. Let's see. All right, I got it. So notice, now I'm halfway there. So I don't have very many more questions I have to answer in this objective. Okay, now notice my circle seems to have gone away. If that happens, don't panic. Notice this is a different objective now. So what this will do is it will hop around from objective to objective. Okay. There is some switching you can do. So if I click on this button, so let's say this one in particular, I don't feel like doing problems like this right now, then I can switch to other objectives as well. So I can then go down here and hit start for this one. So you do have a little bit of control over like the broad topics. So, so there might be two kind of big topics with multiple objectives underneath of those within an assignment. So you can kind of jump between the broad topics. All right, so let's look at this one here. Maybe this one I'm really not, I want to get a couple wrong so you can see what that looks like. So I'm just going to put the number 2. Pretty sure that's wrong. Okay, so it says no. Now, it does allow for the fact that you might have a typo or you might be able to realize right away what you did wrong. So always give you a second chance before it shows you any solutions. Okay, so now I've gotten it wrong twice. So now that I've gotten it wrong twice, it'll show me the right answer. Then it'll show me the work I should have done. And then hopefully from that, I can kind of figure out what it is I did wrong and do it differently next time. Okay, now it's given me another one. Let's get this one wrong as well. Okay, again, it shows me the correct answer. I'm going to hit continue. All right, now it's giving me another one, and I'm going to get this one wrong also. Okay, so on this one, I'm going to get one more wrong here. So what Newton Alta will do is, if you've kind of shown that you're struggling a little bit, it will then sense that and then maybe say, oh, maybe you should try watching this video and that'll help you. So it'll pull up resources as you go. And so I maybe watch this video, hit continue. One other thing that you could do, maybe you watch this video, but you're still not feeling good about it. Then you can click on more instruction and click view instruction, and then they'll have even more help for you as well. So the reason I like Newton Alta and the reason I think it's worth the amount of money you do have to pay is it's got lots of resources to help you. So you're not just by yourself at home doing this homework and then getting stuck. So there's lots of resources just built into it. And then, of course, don't ever hesitate to reach out to me as well. And so if after seeing all these resources, you're still kind of stuck, then that's where you want to reach out to me. And maybe on the one hand, you want to like take a picture. So maybe snap a picture of say, hey, these are the kind of answers I'm getting. I'm struggling. I'm going to snap a picture and then put it in our homework help forum, which I'll show you a little bit later. Or you could send me a Canvas message as well, just right here. So I just highly suggest that you really take advantage of all the resources here, but also don't hesitate to reach out. And so at the end of the day here, let me hit switch again. Let's go back up here. So at the end of the day, you're just working on trying to, I'm just going to answer this one correctly. Oops. Trying to fill in all those circles, right? That's what you're trying to do. Instead of all numbers. So I'm just going to answer a couple more here. Sorry, it's a little tedious, I know, to watch me do this, but All right, so you can see this one's half full. And if I go to this little lightning here, it'll show me my progress overall. So right, these two, I've got half of them done. These two, I haven't done any yet. And then once they're all filled in, the assignment's over. All right, so that's probably enough of me going through what that looks like. There is one other type of assignment that I want to make you aware of, though, and that is at times we'll do written assignments. And with written assignments, it's either because maybe I think you need more practice on it, or sometimes Newton Alta just isn't as conducive to some of the types of questions I want to ask as just doing it on paper. So if I click down here, and by the way, notice how in this module, there's more than one, right? So I had textbook, video lesson, assignment. Then I have different text, video lesson, another Newton assignment, and now there's a written assignment. So I click here. And the written assignments, the way these work is there'll be a PDF document for you to pull up. And the PDF document will have one of two different types of questions in it. One type will be questions that I just write out. So I type them into the document and I ask you to do those. Or I will have textbook questions in there that say, go to the textbook and do these specific problems. And sorry, my internet at home must be kind of lagging right now because this is taking a little bit longer to open up than it should. Okay, I just oops, there we go. Okay, so there it is. So it's just problems that I've written out. You don't need to print out this piece of paper. I don't even really provide you enough room to actually do the problems. What I'm wanting you to do here, though, is to just do the problems out in detail on notebook paper. And then once you finish those problems, you'll snap pictures of them and then upload them here. And here you're able to upload multiple problems. And so one thing is, if you haven't done it before, there's a Canvas app that you can get for your phone. And so probably the slickest way to do this would just be to take pictures on your phone of the notebook paper you did the work on, and then get into the Canvas app and then just upload the pictures directly from there. It should be pretty easy. And then when you're finished with the written assignment, I will look at what you do and make comments back to you. And so I'll let you know once comments have been made on particular assignments. Let me just show you one other written assignment. Let's see. There we go. We'll do this one. Written assignment 3. So the reason I want to show you this one is I want to show you what it looks like to have some questions from the book that you've been assigned. So this one's saying, go to section 3.2 of the book and do these 4 problems. If I click on this link, it'll take me right to that section of the book. And so then I can just go here and scroll down to the exercises and find the problems that I've been assigned. Also, this link here will allow me to check the odd answers in the back. So if I click here, this takes you to essentially the back of the book, and will show solutions to those odd problems. And so you can go find those in section, whatever it was, 3.2. And then there's also a couple problems here that I want you to do from that I actually wrote out. All right, so that's what it looks like when I've assigned some book problems as part of a written assignment. All right, now, one of the things that I try to do, and we'll just look at standard 6 here to kind of illustrate this, is I try to have everything that's an action items, things that you have to do, are not indented at all. So you video notes, you have to go through and do the video lessons, right, in order to learn the material. And then, of course, any kind of homework assignment, you have to do that. Everything that's indented are things that are there to help you, but not necessarily tasks you have to complete, right? So here's the textbook sections. And then here's supplemental videos, right? Those optional supplemental videos. So that's the pattern you should be looking for, right? What is it that's all the way over to the left? Those are things you have to do. Things that are indented are there to help you, but they're not requirements. All right. And then one other thing I do want to do is go back. You might wonder, why did he demonstrate using standard 3 when there's all these other modules above it? The reason I started with standard 3 is because it represents the more typical type of module that you're going to go through. Our very first one, standard 1, okay? The topic of standard 1 is all about solving various types of equations. So standard 1 is literally solving absolute value, quadratic, radical, and rational equations. So just lots of different types of equations that you're solving. And so that standard 1 is more manageable in its size, and I'm not including just a million things in one module, I've broken it up. So it's standard 1 part 1, standard 1 part 2, standard 1 part 3, and so on, representing the different types of equations you're going to have to make sure you know how to solve. Let me click on this first one, though. Within standard 1, there are, in addition to some of the optional things like the textbook and supplemental videos, there's also some optional assignments. So the reason for that is everyone's coming into this class with a different amount of math background, right? So some of you are maybe fresh out of a high school math class just last spring. And so you've got a lot of the material that's, stuff that you would have learned before. It's probably pretty fresh in your mind. Whereas others of you, maybe it's been a year or longer. And so you might have to refresh on some things as you go. So the stuff that's indented a lot, notice this stuff's indented way more than even like this textbook section. That is review material that you very well may know how to do already, but if you find yourself having trouble, you might want to go back and take a look at this. So this assignment here, notice it's worth 0 points, right? So it's not going to help or hurt your grade, but that might be something you want to do in order to remind yourself, okay, how do I solve linear equations, right? Because being able to solve linear equations is going to be important for what you do down here, solving absolute value equations. So this stuff here, if you never touch it because you already understand that material, great, that's no problem. But it's there for you if you need it, okay? And that's throughout all these here. So like this one here, see all this? This has a fair amount of review that comes before you get to this video lesson down here, right? If you're comfortable with all this, I don't need you to do any of it, but it's there if you need it. Okay, so that's why I didn't show you standard 1 right away, because it's kind of weird. Once you get through standard 1, then pretty much everything's going to look basically like standard 3 did, like standard 6 did, like I already showed you. All right, so there's 2 other things that I want to show you before the conclusion of this video. One is up here, our homework forum. So when you have homework questions, Newton Alta is not necessarily the way they're explaining it isn't helping you in the way you need for a particular assignment, then use this homework forum. So you click on here, just simply hit reply, and then what you can do is type out your question, but I encourage you to just simply like take pictures of your Newton Alta problem. You can insert images really easily here, or insert documents if you save the picture as a document, but just, if you save it as a JPEG or something like that, then you can just upload the image right here. And then I can see it and answer your question. And so I really encourage you to use this. I mean, you can use the private messaging system, but if you're okay with others seeing your question, then it's really nice because then everyone can see the question and the answer. And, sometimes a classmate might even answer your question before I'm able to get to it. So really encourage you to use this. And then finally, let's look at the calendar. So to kind of keep yourself on track from day to day, go to the calendar. And at the top of every day, we'll tell you kind of what it is that you should be doing in terms of like the lesson, right? Okay, of course, the 18th, it's fine if you're just going through the orientation and discussion, the introducing yourself discussion board, things like that. Then by tomorrow, you want to have pages 1 through 6 of your notes done in the video notes, pages 7 through 14 by the 20th, and so on. Can you work ahead of that? Absolutely, right? I encourage you to work ahead. That's really helpful. And then, on Thursday's the first day you have assignments from Newton due. And everything's due at midnight. That's the way it works. But again, I encourage you to be working on them, right away. So like, for example, these 2 Newton assignments here, these have to do with Tuesdays, pages 1 through 6, that video lesson. So I always try to have a day between when the assignments actually due and when you were supposed to have finished the video lesson. So my encouragement is just you finish the video lesson, you start working on the homework right away, try to get ahead of it. But the idea is there's always a day in between so that if you run into questions, then you have time to get those questions answered. It will be pretty typical to have 2 assignments due in a day. That might seem like a lot, but what I want you to keep in mind is when you're signed up for a 5-credit class, usually what we would say is that should translate to about 15 hours a week of work, sometimes a little more even potentially. So that's kind of what you want to be hitting. So 2 assignments is a lot, but when you're on the quarter system and taking a class in 10 weeks, that's kind of the way we have to go about it. The other thing is the student hours are here to remind you when they are. And if you click on any one of these, it'll give you the link, and that's the link that'll take you right to student hours. So you can get there, yes, from the main Canvas page, but also right here from the calendar. All right, so like I said, there's going to be one more video that's going to take you through how grading works, how assessments are going to work, and that sort of thing. So that's all I wanted to go over in terms of the nuts and bolts of working through the class. You might have some questions about what I just went over, though, so please don't hesitate to reach out, send me a Canvas message, or if you'd like, you can send it in the homework question forum as well. Either way is great. But I really look forward to meeting you all online, and I hope you have a great evening.